Hi guys, it's Zoo Tokyo, and this video is about the fascination that Americans have with Donald Trump. So let's talk about it, shall we? Now, America loves larger than life, it loves celebrity, it loves pomp and circumstance, but it also loves a train wreck. This we know. It loves a comeback story. It loves a hopeful story. Oh, America loves hope. We love hope. It loves change. It loves promise. America loves promise. So when Donald Trump came on the scene, to a lot of people, it was almost like that Arnold Schwarzenegger effect. You have a celebrity running for office. Can he do it? At first, everyone thought it was a joke. As we thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was a joke, and we made jokes throughout his entire time in office. Those who live in California and those who didn't. But with Donald Trump, it was different because we got used to seeing him on television all the time, watching The Apprentice, and with the Miss America pageants, we just kind of gotten used to him, and his books, and knowing that he's this mogul and this mover, this shaker. And so when he decided to run for office, it was, it was this idea that just stuck for good and for ill, and everyone developed an opinion. Whether or not uh, it was serious, he'd stay for the long haul, how far he'd get, the entire thing. But as time goes on and we started watching the the debates, and we started seeing people drop like Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, everything became real. Things start getting real. You started having people questioning which side of the fence they were on, if they wanted to be um, a Democrat or a Republican. And, people started, you know, thinking. They started reviewing their past. They started um, questioning themselves and questioning whether or not the path that they've been on before uh, have beared any fruit, if it was good for them. And so that was significant because before Obama didn't do that, no other politician that we know of made us question whether or not, where we stood, the path that we stood on was, if it was sound and if it was really working for us. So Donald Trump gave us that opportunity to think about that because we never thought about that before. And Donald Trump made America realize that it was tired of polishedness. It was tired of the shiny, happy, bumper sticker type of politician that we've always had. Those with the coiffed hair. Now not we, but a number of Americans made fun of his look. He used to be really orange. If you notice, he's changed now. He's white now. He's no longer orange. They made fun of his hair. They just made fun of him. But after a while, he started becoming real, and he started, people started thinking, well, he is a businessman, and people started thinking that's what America needs. America doesn't need another Bush. It doesn't, who knows if it needs another Clinton. We weren't at that point yet, collectively. But everyone knew that we didn't need another Bush in office. So Jeb Bush quickly got kicked to the side. We were like, no more, I don't want to say no more retards, but basically America was like, no more retards. This was, when the social justice and the labels and the renaming of everything that already exists became really in full force. So Americans began looking at Donald Trump and saying, well, we started listening to him, and he started talking about immigration, and he started talking about jobs, and he started saying all the things. He became a lover almost. He became that guy that comes over and brings flowers, who romances us. So he started saying all the things that we were pissed off about, and also some of the things we didn't even know we were pissed off about. A lot of people talk about immigration, but they're living in America. They don't know who's an immigrant and who's not. America is just that type of country. You don't always know who's legal and who's not. It could, your next door neighbor who's been there for 20 years could be an illegal and you just wouldn't even know it. So, Donald Trump, like I said, more and more he became real, and more he became um, close to us for good and for ill. Some people started to despise him because uh, they didn't think he was polished enough. If you hear that throughout the entire campaign, people are saying, oh, he's not polished enough, he's not polished enough. But we've had polished people, and that's gotten us nothing but the same. Um, so everyone is like, well, maybe something different. Maybe if we've gone left all this time and we've ended up here, then maybe we should try to go right. And so Donald Trump represented going right. He represents a right turn, and a different direction for a lot of people, because everyone thought that Obama was going to bring change you can't believe in, but he brought nothing. He brought steps back. He brought, like the Matrix, like how they would lean back and go. That's what Obama brought. So looking at this older Caucasian man who's not a politician but a businessman, it started to intrigue people, you know. So some people got hooked and said, well, he's a celebrity, he's this and that. But a lot of people got hooked because he's a businessman. And truth be told, America is a business. I think you still have some people who haven't come to that realization, but America is it's a corporation, it's a business, it's it's a huge bank. It's all about notes coming in and out, circulating. It's all about that. And people want a job. People want jobs. People want better jobs. People want their standard of living back. For a lot of people, their standard of living decreased, and People want someone in office who they think can give them, who can help them, get their standard of living back or raise their standard of living again. And so he represents that. He's a person who, not exactly self-made. You can't say that because, unless we can all go and ask our Father for a few million. But he's someone something who took something or took something, who made something from nothing. Because you can have millions of dollars and you can try uh, a lot of business ventures, and they can all fail, and you can just be out of millions. And we know that he failed. And for a lot of people, Donald Trump represents that failed business person and that business person that finally succeeds. And a lot of people, a lot of Americans relate to him for that. He represents what they wish they could be. And see, when you have that type of thing, when you awaken someone's ambition, when you awaken someone's spirit, um, ignite that passion for life, people aren't going to let that go. So you have young, you have old, especially look at the demographic that he attracts. You have young and old people who, some would say, are middle class and below. And he taps into that group so well. He's not as articulate as someone as someone who has went to the schools that he's went to and who's achieved as what he's, went to. He's not as, he doesn't speak as well as those people. But it works for his benefit because he gets to attract people who speak that language, who speak that way. So he becomes attractive to them, and that's one more thing, you know, that fascinates them, and it builds an emotional connection. That's basically what this is about. What we're watching. We're watching a dance. Donald Trump is a lover to a lot of Americans. He's the he's the older man that your boyfriend is going to sit up with and talk to, and adopt as a father. You know, he's that type of guy, and that's what we're watching unfold. And people are trying to figure out what's this thing with Donald Trump. He represents all of these things for a lot of Americans. He represents the failed businessman who finally succeeded and succeeded bigly. He represents that person that gives them hope, that person who wants to make some changes, that person who's not a, they think because he's not a politician, he's not a pathological liar. He represents the American dream. Bam. That right then and there. That's enough to get a lot of Caucasians right then and there. Black Americans separately, they have a thing about the American dream, kind of, But I think even more Mexicans believe in the American dream than Black Americans. I would go that far, and we can do another video on that. However, Donald Trump represents all of these things that are emotional to people. So when you have that situation, you have a person who can say and do anything. And I think he realized that early on in this election. He realized that. I think he even made a comment, I could kill someone and get away with it and people would still vote for me. I think he realized that because he tapped into something that I don't even know if any other politician has even tapped into in U.S. history. Maybe JFK. People like JFK. I don't know, but we're not gonna go there. But he 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 he's romancing America, and that's what you're watching. You're watching a dance. You're watching a sway, so to speak. And he's not that polished boyfriend. He's not that supermodel boyfriend that eventually is gonna dump you. That's another thing. That's another problem. That's what makes that staying power so tight. Because with him, it makes you trust him even more because your attachment is that much tighter because you can relate to him more, and that's the thing. For people who can relate to him at one atom's weight, they got sucked in hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker. And a lot of this, I think he's an idiot savant in this way. I think that he doesn't even know. He in the very beginning he didn't even know that he was gonna succeed this far. I bet you, any amount of money, he didn't know he was gonna succeed this far. He knows that he doesn't like to lose, but not liking to lose and succeeding past a person's imagination are two different things, and that's what he's done. And so you have this type of person, so that's propelling him further, and he's making his mistakes as we see it, and he's doing his thing, and he's giving his sales spiel, and that's what it is. He's selling he's selling a pitch. He's pitching to America constantly, and people are eating it up. But the thing about it is that he can pitch just about anything because people have an emotional tie to this man, unlike any other politician. Unlike Obama, and they say that he's unfavorable, he's this and that. He's got a love-hate relationship. Even the people who hate him, a lot of times people hate people who they wish they could be. They hate people who are just like them. They hate people who have the freedom and the privilege to do the things that they wanted to do. So when you meet people who dislike him, you want to ask them why and what are the reasons, why they dislike him. A lot of times, they're not going to even give you a straight answer. But really, a lot of it is jealousy. It could be jealousy. It could be something about them offends him, but yet this is something that they've dealt with in their own life. So he represents something that they've dealt with in their own life. This is really deep. There's a real science to this relationship that Americans have with Donald Trump. I could do a part two to this because it's you watch this unfold. This man, this orange man, this formerly orange man, is making history, and this is a very exciting time to be alive, whether you're in the United States, Europe, China, or you're anywhere else. So keep watching, and thanks for watching this video. Comment, rate, and subscribe.